everybody, it's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com, and I'm here to share a video with you for our March 2014 Stampin' Gals Gone Wild. I have got to tell you, this is like the coolest card I think I've ever made. This is called Pop-Up Card in a Box. You can see it goes nice and flat when you're ready to mail it, but when the recipient gets the card, boom, and it pops up and goes instantly into this great box. A fabulous bouquet of flowers just comes popping out. They are going to be so impressed and think you're awesome, and you are. But let me tell you, this looked like a really complicated card. I was very nervous about doing it, and those of you who've been following me for a while know if it's not simple, Connie won't do it. So I'm excited to share with you some ways that you're going to be able to make the pop-up card in a box very, very simple, because that's what it's all about. So let's get started with our project. All right, well, to get started with our card, we need to do some cutting on that 8.5 by 11 piece of Pistachio Pudding Cardstock. I'm going to share with you the measurements, but listen, don't let it freak you out because I have diagrams of every step that I'm doing here. So you feel free to use that as you're making it, but I'm going to share with you real quick just how I did that cutting. So I've got a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. We're going to cut 2 inches off the end of that so that it's 8.5 by 9. All right, we've cut those 2 inches off. All right, so that leaves us a piece 8.5 by 9. We're going to cut 3 inches off of that, leaving us 5.5 inches by 9. So there's my 5.5, leaving me 3. Everyone with me? Good, because that's pretty easy, right? We're not taking you over the edge yet. All right, I've now got that 3-inch piece that was cut off. And let me show you what I did actually to make it easier. I'm going to go ahead and just bring in my cutting tool here, because what you're going to do with this piece is we're going to start down here on the end and we're going to cut off 7 1/4-inch pieces. So you're just going to take that, whoop, 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 and you're going to cut off 7 1/4-inch pieces. That's pretty easy, right? The reason I'm doing it this way, it's so much easier to cut this and cut those off than to try to deal with little teeny tiny pieces. So we're doing it that way. So we're going to get those cut off. When we're done, we're going to have a piece that is 3 inches by 7 1/4 left over. Just cut off 2 inches or cut off 1 inch. We just need to cut that down 1 inch right there. I'm going to bring it in. This is what it all looks like, and you can see we're going to be using all of our cardstock here. So let me just share with you real quick, this piece and this piece are actually going to be used to cut leaves. So I'm going to set those off to the side. These pieces here are what are going to create our little phalanges. I don't know if that's what they're called, but anyway, we've got 7 of those, and that's going to use to give us some dimension there. And these 2 pieces here are what will actually create the box. So let me share with you, you've got the scoring measurements on this, but I'm going to go ahead and show you. Again, I'm going to use just the my cutting scoring tool here to show you, but you use your Simply Scored, whatever makes you happy. First thing we want to do is we want to put the short end up. Remember, we want to use the scoring blade, so we want that light one. Take that nasty little cutting blade there, get it out of your way. All right, we're going to put the short end up, and we're going to go 2 3/4 of an inch right down the center. We're now going to flip it around, and we're going to score at 2 1/8, 4 1/4, 6 3/8, and then again, let's see, oh, that's 8.5, or in this case, if it's a little bit easier, just come over to that 1/2 inch mark and we're going to score that. So what I want to do, and I know it's kind of hard to see in the video, but this is my little tabby end here, you know, that little 1/2 inch piece. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down to the score line. All right, that's that little score line there. And then I'm just going to cut it at an angle. All right, so you can see I cut a little angle off of this piece that's remaining. We're not going to cut that whole thing off. Now, we want that tab piece down at the bottom, and we're going to cut along these score lines. So that is really important that you're not cutting on that tab side, because that tab side is what's going to put our box together. And so we're just going to cut along these score lines. Okay, so you can see I've got all my score lines cut. We're now going to come in with the bone folder and give everything a really good crease. The one thing I can tell you, I've been making boxes for years. The one thing that is crucial with boxes is really good hard crease lines. Don't think that you can just fold it over and give it just a little, you know, with your fingernail or something. Boxes, in order to look really good, really need to be nice and sharp edges there. Okay, actually, just so you know, not that it's a big deal right now, but we're actually going to fold these pieces backwards. All right, so you can see that's how my box is going to start to go together. Now, here's where I do things a little bit different than other demonstrators who have taught this project. Not that they're teaching it wrong, I just like to find the simple way. So let me share with you how we're going to do that. We're going to come in with that piece that is 1 inch by 7 1/4 inch. And you can see I've scored that, and your measurements for scoring that are right there on the screen, or they're also there for you in your notes. So let's go ahead and give these, again, coming in with that bone folder, let's give all of these a really good hard fold there. I'm going to come in just with some snail for this, and just on one end, get a little heavy with the snail. We want to make sure this holds on really well. And we're just going to bring those two ends together like so. All right, easy enough. Okay, I'm going to come in with some sticky strip. And what I've done with that is, you see my little rectangle shape here. And on the square ends, I've got sticky strip on both ends of that. We're going to go ahead and remove the backing tape, and I've got off of that piece. Now I've got my box here. You can see I've got some sticky strip down here on that tab as well. All right, so let me just tell you, I've got my tab over to the left. I've got my sticky strip removed here, and you want to center this in this square. If it helps you, we can even move that out of the way. Guys, if you don't mind, I'm actually going to do this upside down so that I can see it. But what I want to do is just do my best to kind of get it centered in there. You don't have to come all the way up to the top. Make sure you're, we're not getting up too high, but you can see I've kind of got that centered there. Watch this. We're going to bring this down, and we're going to bring this part of the box over. And look at that. It's now set just right. I know, brilliant, right? So much easier than trying to figure those little guys in there. At this point, I can just take the backing now off of my side. Watch this, laying it flat, bringing that around flat. This is going to ensure it's going to mail just right. So there is my opening that I'm going to be able to put all my cool stuff in. All right, well, now that we have that done, now let's get to the fun part. We get to start decorating this up, but you now at least have the basics now for creating the card in a box.